Here in the Northern Hemisphere, this is the time of year when the nights grow long and the days grow cold, and the leaves have fallen, and the plants and animals are quiet, conserving their energy for the winter ahead. And into this time of darkness, human beings bring light. Candles are lit, and bonfires are burned. And today is a special day for candles because today is the first day of Hanukkah and also the first day of Advent. And I'll speak a little bit more about those later. Tomorrow is also the first day of Chalaka. You may have heard of this. It's our own UU winter holiday with 7 candles, one for each of our 7 principles, and it lasts for a week. And a candle is lit every day. No, I am not making this up. Some congregations do it over 7 weeks because, each principle, it's hard to do justice to them in one day. African Americans celebrate Kwanzaa, during which red, green, and black candles are lit. December 8th is Bodhi Day, commemorating the Buddha's enlightenment. On December 12th, St. Lucia comes as a young woman with lights and sweets. And then there is solstice on the 21st, which is marked by so many observances and feasts that it's simply hard to name them all, although I'll name a couple here. There's Soyal, the winter solstice ceremony of the Zuni and the Hopi. From December 21st to December 25th, the Hindus celebrate Lord Ganesha in the festival of Pancha Ganapati. Yalda is celebrated in Iran with food and poetry. Dongzhi in China and Yule and Saturnalia are observed by pagans. And then there's Christmas, our peculiarly American secular/religious commercial holiday with its pagan roots, followed by New Year's Eve. And some of us may celebrate a number of these holy days, honoring the layered complexity of our spiritual and religious lives. And what many, if not all, of these feasts and celebrations have in common is the certain knowledge that the green and the warmth and the light will return, seated by our hope in the fires that we keep burning in the darkness. So today, we are lighting 3 candles. Our chalice, which we'll light to start Chalaka, which is a real holiday. And I've asked Betty Meyerson to light the first candle of the Hanukkah and say a few words. And perhaps there's someone among us who carries our Christian lineage who would like to light the first Advent candle. If there's no volunteer, then I will do it. Would you? Awesome. So let's light our chalice first. In my opening words, I noted that today marks the first day of both Hanukkah in the Jewish calendar and of Advent in the Christian calendar. And it's a lovely alignment. It happens about every 20 years or so. And it serves to remind us of our deep connections as Unitarian Universalists to one of our 6 sources, the Jewish and Christian teachings which call us to respond to God's love by loving our neighbors as ourselves. Now, for those who may not know, and I must confess that I counted myself among them until just a few short years ago, Advent is the beginning of the Western Christian liturgical year, and it commences on the 4th Sunday before Christmas. It's a time of expectant waiting and preparation for the celebration of the Nativity of Jesus at Christmas, as well as the second coming of Christ, and also the welcoming of the Spirit of Christ into our hearts. And each of the candles lit on the 4 Sundays leading up to Christmas has a theme, and it varies depending on your particular denominations. One of my favorites is the first Sunday is the prophet's candle, which symbolizes hope. The Bethlehem candle, which symbolizes faith. The shepherd's candle, which symbolizes joy. And the angel's candle, which symbolizes peace. Another variation starts the first Sunday with hope, followed by peace, joy, and then love. And whether or not we agree with the beliefs or the symbolism or any Christian creed, there's little doubt that our faith grew out of the Christian tradition, and that these words carry great meaning for us because Jesus' teachings inform our covenants and our work for social justice. Because until Jesus, God didn't used to be about love. Jesus said, wait a minute. Not only does God love you, and not only should you love God, but you should love your neighbor too, as you love yourself. And that's pretty radical. He also said that the kingdom of God, heaven, was right here, could be right here on earth in the way we treated each other. For I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. I needed clothes and you clothed me. I was sick and you looked after me. I was in prison and you came to visit me. And that's our connection. As a faith, we decided we didn't need a belief in God to tell us to treat each other well, to feed the hungry or clothe the needy, to express our humanity. In 1828, the great Unitarian preacher, William Ellery Channing, asked this question: whence do we derive our knowledge of the attributes and perfections which constitute the Supreme Being? And he answered his own question, and he said, we derive them from our own souls. The divine attributes are first developed in ourselves and then transferred to our Creator. The idea of God, sublime and awful as it is the idea of our own spiritual nature, purified and enlarged to infinity. And in ourselves are the elements of the divinity. Which does not make us divine, I might add. Rather, it reminds us to be humble, aware of our humanity, our flaws and our failings, and our constant struggle to live up to our ideals, because those divine attributes are still under development. I'd like to read a poem now by the Cheyenne poet Linda Hogan. New stones have risen up Earth's labor toward air. Everything rises, the ocean in a cloud, the rainforest passing over our heads. Children grow inch by inch like trees in a graveyard, victors over the same gravity that pulls us down. Even as our light continues on through the universe, and do we stop to wonder who will see it and where when the light of this earth is gone? May there long be our light. And then it falls. Shades are pulled down between two worlds. Clouds fall as rain. Light returns. the way rain from Brazil falls in New York. And the green parrots in their cages feel it, shake their feathers and remember home and are alive. And should they be thankful for that gift? Or should they curse like sailors and grieve? I tell the parrots I too have wanted to give up on everything. When what was right turned wrong, and the revolutionaries who rose up like yeast in life's bread turned against those who now rise up. That is why I take the side of light, don't you? With the weight of living tugging us down and the earth wanting us back, despite great thoughts and smiling faces that are prisons in between the worlds of buying and selling, even the parrots, we teach to say, hello. Hello? Did I call this poem The Direction of Light? I meant life. So let this word overthrow the first and rise up to the start. The 8 days of Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights, commemorate the rededication of the Second Temple in Jerusalem after the success of the Maccabean Revolt. Around 200 years before Christ, Judea, the land of Israel, came under the control of Antiochus III, the Seleucid king of Syria, who allowed the Jews who lived there to continue practicing their religion. But his son, Antiochus IV, wasn't so generous. History tells us that he outlawed the Jewish religion and ordered the Jews to worship Greek gods. In 168 BC, his soldiers descended upon Jerusalem, massacring thousands of people and desecrating the Second Temple by erecting an altar to Zeus and sacrificing pigs within its sacred walls. But led by the Jewish priest Mattathias and his 5 sons, a revolt broke out. And when Mattathias died in 166 BC, his son Judah, known as Judah Maccabee, the Hammer, like that, took command, and within 2 years the Jews had successfully driven the Syrians out of Jerusalem. And Judah called on his followers to cleanse the Second Temple, rebuild its altar, and light its menorah, the candelabrum whose 7 branches represented knowledge and creation and were meant to be kept burning every night. And according to the Talmud, one of Judaism's central texts, Judah Maccabee and the other Jews who took part in the rededication of the temple witnessed what they believed to be a miracle. Even though there was only enough kosher olive oil to keep the menorah's lamps burning for a single day, the flames continued to burn for 8 nights, leaving them time to prepare more. This wondrous event inspired the Jewish sages to proclaim a yearly 8-day festival, a festival of lights. Now, whether the story of the olive oil is factually true is beside the point. The point is that there are things that we cannot explain, and some of those qualify as miracles, like the simple fact of our existence, that any of this is here at all, and we are here to witness it. The Hasmonean dynasty, which was led by Judah Maccabee's brother and his descendants, freed the land of Israel from the Seleucids and maintained an independent Jewish kingdom for more than a century. But like all kingdoms, it too fell. Rome entered the picture, and Jewish-Roman wars raged for another 150 years. culminating in the destruction of Jerusalem and the Second Temple in the year 70. And the Jewish people scattered or were sold into slavery, and it would be almost 2,000 years before they regained their homeland and established the modern state of Israel in 1948. And during all those centuries, during all that adversity and struggle, and to this day, the Hanukkah lights are lit every year. Wow, it blows my mind. 2,000 years. The lights represent renewal and rededication and joy. They represent peace after a long struggle. In Jewish tradition, the candle's flame also represents the human soul and serves to remind us of the fragility, the frailty and beauty of life. Like a human soul, flames must breathe and change and grow and strive against the darkness and ultimately fade away. And so the flickering of the candlelight helps to remind us of the preciousness of our life and the lives of our loved ones, life that must be embraced and cherished at all times. Again and again and again, across cultures, particularly here in the Northern Hemisphere, these things appear as we near the depths of winter. Fire, hope, joy, love, light, anticipation. They will carry us into spring when the earth renews itself as it has for millions of years. And yet, we cannot hurry spring. It will come when it is ripe and ready, and not before. And now, on winter's threshold, we pledge ourselves again to spring, to renewal. And we fill our lamps with precious oil to keep the human spark alive in the face of adversity and depression. This is the human way, and we have been doing it for a long, long time. In the words of Wendell Berry, again we come to the resurrection of bloodroot from the dark, a hand that reaches up out of the ground holding a lamp. Like those who came before us, we renew and rededicate ourselves once again to living better lives and making the world a better place. But we know from bitter experience that renewal is not possible without the opportunity to begin again, like the earth and the sun, without the cleansing dark, without atonement and forgiveness. May peace and joy be with you in this season. May light and laughter fill your homes and hearts, and may love guide you always. May you be blessed more than ever with light and love and laughter. Amen.